Hi everyone, Marches here. Welcome to the channel. And today we will be comparing the KD14s to the Zion ones. So let us find out which is better and which is for you. If you want to buy the KD14s or the Zion ones, I'll be putting the link down in the description below. So let's start off first with the uppers of these two sneakers. So on the KD14, it features this screen mesh upper with felt overlay, while on the Zion ones, it has screen mesh for the upper plus some ripstop material. One of the main differences between the two uppers is of course the fusing of the material. On the KD14, it has lesser fusing or none at all, but on the Zion ones, the screen mesh is heavily fused, and of course the ripstop material is plasticky. So in terms of comfort around your foot, I would say the KD14 is more comfortable around your foot. But the Zions are not uncomfortable, but you feel the fusing more on the Zions. But the upside on the materials on the Zions is it is very well ventilated. It is really thin and very durable at the same time. While on the KDs, it has a thicker upper, which will be warmer around your foot. So it really depends on your preference. If your priority is more onto the comfort side, the KD14's upper is better in terms of comfort. But if you want more ventilation, lighter materials for the upper, the Zion ones is for you. But as for durability and support around the toe area of both sneakers, as for support wise, the Zion has more support around the toe area because of these two straps that acts as wings and really pulls you down to the footbed and really gives you that lateral support that you need. While on the KDs, you will be getting the support out of the lacing system plus just for the upper. As for durability around the toe area, the KD14 has extra layer underneath the edges of the toe box, while on the Zion ones, it has this fusing on the tip of your toe area, on the middle side and the lateral side. So durability wise, I would say the Zion will be a little bit more durable because the tip and the material of the KD14s is a lot softer compared to the Zions, compared to this fuse overlay found on the Zion ones. You can hear how fused that is. Now let's move on to the mid part of the sneaker. Let's start off first with the laces of these two sneakers. In terms of quality, I would prefer the laces of the KDs more compared to the Zions, which on the Zions has a flat lace compared to the KDs, which has this very soft round laces. Both sneakers laces won't loosen up when you are playing with them, so that's a good thing about these two sneakers. But one thing that I noticed on the Zions is the laces were kind of harder to adjust, so it's kind of tighter around the lace holes, which can be a good thing and a bad thing. So when you really tighten the Zions, it won't loosen up on the lace holes. While on the KDs, even though it's easier to adjust the laces, I didn't feel it loosening up. So KDs are easier to adjust compared to the Zions. That's just a little detail that I wanted you to know. And as for the tongue of these two sneakers, the KDs has a thicker and more padded tongue compared to the Zions, even though the Zion's tongue is a little bit longer and has a better design compared to the tongue of the KDs, which is more on the regular standard design. The KD's tongue is a little bit more padded, so it's a little bit more comfortable around your foot compared to the Zion's, but I didn't experience any discomfort on the Zion's tongue, but I just prefer the KD's tongue, which is more padded. And another trivia about the tongue of the Zion's is it's an inspiration on how Zion likes superheroes. So this is just like a cape of a superhero. And as for the midfoot support, even though these two materials are completely different, both doesn't stretch at all. So they're very good in terms of support. So a little added feature on the KDs is of course this strap that gives you a little bit help in the lockdown. But overall, it's just made for aesthetics. It's a nod for the Slim Reaper of KD, because when you open it up, it looks like the skite or the sight of the Gleam Reaper, the hook, the weapon of the Gleam Reaper. So that's a nod to the Slim Reaper nickname of KD. Another thing that helps out in the lateral support of the KDs is this plastic plate found in the midfoot part of the KDs, which cages your foot laterally so you won't slip on the footbed. While on the Scions, the cushion or the Phylon goes up a bit and cages your foot laterally, but the majority of the support is coming from the screen mesh, this fused material in the middle, and of course the ripstop material. Now let's move on to the heel part of these two sneakers. Both sneakers are mid-cut sneakers. The main difference that I felt on the heel part of the two sneakers is of course this groove on the KDs, which gives you more ankle mobility compared to the very high padding on the Zion ones. Although I didn't feel any discomfort around the ankle or heel on the Zion ones, but I prefer this cut more on the KDs because it gives me more ankle mobility compared to the Zion ones. And as for the cushioning around the heel and ankle part, both are very well padded, but on the Zion ones, on the top layer, it's a little bit more padded compared to the KDs, and the KDs also opens up a bit more compared to the Zions. So if you want something that hugs your ankle and heel more, the Zion ones will be more favorable to you. But if you want more ankle mobility at the same time, good heel containment, lockdown, and ankle support, the KD14s is for you. But like I said, heel slippage, containment, and ankle protection are very good on both sneakers. Both have internal heel TPU plate for heel containment. And as for the Scions, the cushion also goes up and cradles your foot more to give you extra heel containment. While on the KDs, even though the cushion doesn't go up like the Zions, the containment that you'll be getting out of the internal heel TPU plate is good enough. And now let's move on to the cushion of both sneakers. Of course, the Zion features a full-length air strobel with a zoom, rectangular zoom in the forefoot, plus a Phylon carrier, while on the KDs, it features a full-length zoom strobel with a Cushlon carrier. So the main difference between the two cushion is if you want more bounciness first, that's the first sensation that you want your feet to feel, then the impact protection afterward from the forefoot to the heel. The KD is for you and it's a little bit lower to the ground. While on the Scions, if you want a thicker foam and maximum impact protection from the forefoot to the heel and a good bounce in the forefoot, you would prefer the Scions. So if you're more into impact protection, overall impact protection, the Zion's your choice. But if you want more bounciness, still good impact protection from the forefoot to the heel, plus closer to the ground, the KD14s is for you. Both sneakers are very responsive sneakers. I didn't experience any delays on the cushion setup. It's just a matter of preference if you want more impact protection or more bounciness. The Cushlon on the KDs and the Phylon on the Zions are very plush. It really gives extra impact protection on both sneakers. Now let's talk about the traction of these two sneakers. On the KD14, it features some oblong and multi-directional pattern on the rest of the traction, while on the Zions, it features like this fingerprint pattern from the forefoot and heel, and it is decoupled. A little note on my KDs, this is the EP version, so this has extra durable rubber. From the touch of the two rubbers, I would say both are very thick, but the grooves and pattern on the Zions are a little bit thicker compared to the KDs. But in terms of bite, I would say the KDs bite harder. Something about the rubber material and how flexy the rubber material is. So it gives a little bit more bite or grip to the floor compared to the Scions rubber material, which is a little bit harder, so there's no give to it. But it still grips good, but I like the KD's traction a bit more. It bites harder, it squeaks harder, and as for dust pickup, my Zions picked up a little bit more dust compared to the KDs, but my Zions was still gripping. But on the KDs, it doesn't pick up dust that quickly compared to the Zions. So overall traction, I would prefer the KDs over the Zions. As for outdoor use, I would say the Zions will be a little bit better compared to the KDs, even though the KDs has XDR rubber, but the pattern's a little bit slimmer compared to the Zions. But the KDs, I think you can still play with this outdoors. As for the heel-to-toe transition, both sneakers has a very nice curve from the forefoot to the heel, but a little bit more advantage on the Zions because it's a little bit more curve on the forefoot and especially on the heel. When you're comparing it with the KDs, the Zions has a lot more curve compared to the KDs. Plus, it is a decoupled outsole. So usually with this kind of outsole setup, it's better for heel-to-toe transition. So if you want a better heel-to-toe transition, the Zion is for you. As for the spring back or midfoot support, the Zion has it, and the KDs also has that, but the Zions is a little bit more flexible. So it just depends on your preference. If you want a harder stability plate, KDs has a harder one compared to the Zion, which after break-in time is more flexible compared to the KDs. As for the width of the base, the Zions is really wide on the forefoot, and especially this feature, this lateral outrigger that really protrudes, this cushion outrigger really protrudes. It's very stable in the forefoot and it saved me from severe ankle sprain when I was using it. When I step on an opponent's foot, this sneaker caught my ankle. I sprained it a bit, but because of how wide the Zion is, I was able to catch my foot from further injuring it. So if you want more stability around the forefoot, the Zions will give you that. And as for the heel part of the KD is a little bit wider compared to the Zion, so that's kind of crazy. So it really depends on your preference. If you want a more stable forefoot, of course you will choose the Zion. But if you want a more balanced width from the forefoot to the heel, the KD is also wide enough, but not as wide as the forefoot of the Zions. As for the sizing of both sneakers, true to size on both of them. For regular footers and wide footers, go half a size up. But if you're a wide footer, I think the Zions will be a little bit more wide foot friendly because there's a little bit more space on top of your forefoot compared to the KDs, which is a little bit more snug around the forefoot. So as for the price of these two sneakers, KDs is 7,900 pesos. So that's around 150 US dollars, if I'm not mistaken, while on the Zions, it is 6,500 pesos or 110 US dollars. So around 2,000 difference from these two sneakers, mainly because I think the Zoom setup is a little bit more expensive compared to the Air Strobel on the Zions. Plus the upper of the KDs is I think more expensive because it's more premium. So it really depends on you. If you have a little bit more budget and if you want a bouncier feel, a closer to the ground feel, plus very good impact protection, plus extra good ankle mobility for a mid-cut sneaker, go with the KDs. While if you want a very minimal upper, a very well ventilated upper, plus a very durable upper and a very supportive sneaker, plus maximum impact protection and a very good heel-to-toe transition, and if you're more on the budget, the Zion one is for you. And if you want a very light sneaker, the Zion is a very light sneaker. I weighed it earlier, it's just 400 grams compared to the KDs, which is 430 grams. So there's a 30 grams difference. So the KDs is 30 grams heavier compared to the Zions. Like I said, the Zions really feels light when you're holding it. And I think it's one of the lightest sneakers out right now in the market. So that's it on my comparison between the KDs and the Zions. Let me know which sneaker you would choose. Hit me a comment down below. Thank you again for dropping by. This has been Marches once again. I appreciate you. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace. Stop.